You're listening to High Frequency Healing on the Superpowered Up podcast, the show that explores the awakening of superpowers through higher dimensional healing.
Hello, this is Angela Maria, one of the Superpowered Up hosts, and you're listening to High Frequency Healing Show. Awaken superpowers through higher dimension healing. The only difference between where you are to where you want to be is the actions you take here and now to heal your life. So let's take a deep breath and be here and now. I invite you to enjoy this time together. So here we go. Let's welcome Corinne Grillo to my show. We'll be talking about one of my topics of patient angels, a divine spiritual energy. Corinne is a licensed psychotherapist, speaker, healer, teacher, and author of The Angel Experiment. A mind-blowing miracle from the angels saved her life, cured her of lifelong depression, and awakened her spiritual gifts. She now teaches others all over the world how to awaken their spiritual gifts, heal their lives, and discover their true purpose by working with angels and the divine. She teaches by bridging others with direct mystical experiences, excessive amounts of laughter, down-to-earth spiritual wisdom, ritual, and powerful energy medicine that awakens the heart, mind, and soul. Please join me to welcome Corinne Grillo to our interview. Corinne, good morning.
Good morning. I'm so happy to be here.
Oh my God, I know. Could you please pronounce your last name, because I pronounce it as in Spanish.
Oh yeah, it's actually Italian. It's my husband's last name, so it's Grillo. Corinne
Grillo.
I know it's hard for me to remember sometimes.
Oh yes, when I see those two L's, they are at G for me. But now I got it. Corinne Grillo. Corinne, what's your healing superpower?
I would say my healing superpower is a great open heart and helping people open up theirs and detoxing from any pain and lies. And I do that through the power of angels and the divine.
Okay. I already have lots of questions, but let's go to the next one. Will you please take us back to your early years and name one memorable life lesson that is useful for you today?
I feel like my early life was really about endurance and about possibly believing that there was something else out there for me. Although most of my life I felt like I didn't really have a true purpose, I can now see that that even though my life was hard and I struggled, and really, to be honest, most of my life I struggled with depression, and the only prayer I would do back then was for that day to be my last day. So there was something, in a sense, keeping me alive, and I believe that the moment when I started believing in spirit and believing that it was real, and the moment that I started believing in angels really is what changed the game for me.
What was the specific feeling when you just get in contact with the angels? And this question wasn't before, but when you were talking, I said, because maybe some people are at that point, Corinne, and they already have been touched by the angels, but they don't know.
But they don't know what?
They don't know that they have been touched by the angels, that the angels are around, that the angels have a message for them. Maybe they don't know. So how did you know that the angels were there?
Well, it became very obvious very quickly. And so right during an incredibly hard period in my life, it was exactly when I would think I would never have contact with angels, because I was just not living right, meaning I was drinking a fifth of tequila every 2 days. I was taking Adderall, which is an upper, to keep me up. I was burning the candle at both ends. And at the time, I was a professional psychotherapist, but I was so depressed and burning the candle at both ends with a 3-year-old at home. So it was really at a time where I had incredible shame and guilt on how I was living. I was not doing well. And when the angels came in, there was a marked difference. And how they came in was someone bought me a angel healing. And I didn't know what that was. I just thought it was just I was going to see a regular old psychic. And when I went into that session, I was very heavy, dark, felt depressed, just like my usual self for the last 35 years. Mm-hmm. And then when I left that session, I felt lighter, brighter, and more hopeful. And over those days, there's all these synchronicities that amped up. And so a lot of times when angels make contact, it takes a perspective shift. You don't really know what's happening to you until you really come to grips with the fact, oh my gosh, this is activity that is beyond ordinary. Mm-hmm. So when the angels came into my life, there was a lot of synchronicities happening. All of a sudden there was I look around and there's angel wings, and I look up and there's a laundry service with angel wings, and so I spent a few days straight after that angel healing session doing what the lady told me to do, which was talk to the angels as if they're real. So some people right now could be getting in contact with the angels and not know it. Sometimes when you see a lot of synchronicities happening, or all of a sudden you might feel a little hopeful or have an inspired thought or feeling, that's often angel activity trying to get us to set ourselves free, but it takes work to get there sometimes.
Yes, that is exactly what I wanted to listen, because it was my experience. So it is just, I don't know, feathers all around, like in the most unexpected place. Where you said, like just a sign, somebody gave you a card with angels, maybe a billboard with an angel on the billboard. Like yes. That's my invitation before we just go deeper into this conversation. I want you to think, am I being touched by an angel and I haven't recognized that? What is? Just close your eyes and think about it, because that is going to help you a lot to join us and just get in contact to our energy during this conversation. So, Corinne, go ahead.
Yes, I just wanted to add into that. One of the mindset shifts that's essential when you're working with angels and wanting to open up your life to angels is to stop saying this phrase, quote unquote, that was just a coincidence. Mm-hmm. And so the more that you become aware and have this mental shift and this eyeball shift of what is possible, then you'll start noticing an increase, and you'll start noticing all the little ways that spirit can be trying to get our attention to show us that we're not alone.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. I love that. Love it. So, Corinne, where can people go to find out more about you?
They can go to my website, CorinneGrillo.com.
Perfect. And we've been talking with Corinne Grillo about angels, a divine spiritual energy. When we come back from this short break, we're going to talk more about her healing superpowers. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hello, everyone. This is Tonya Dawn Rekla, Executive Director of Superpower Experts, and we want to thank each of you for making Superpower Up the #1 podcast network for personal development and spiritual growth. Because people like you have the courage to say that mindfulness, healthy living, disrupting reality, the pursuit of consciousness, responsible entrepreneurship, and radical parenting matter, we now amass over 1 million downloads monthly in more than 90 countries. Our numbers keep growing because there are far more people willing to live divergently than mass media wants to acknowledge. For you, the change makers, the light bearers, the way showers, we say thank you. If you're ready to take the next step in your evolution, go now to superpowerexperts.com and take the Superpower Quiz. And as Neva-Lee Rekla, our youngest podcaster, likes to remind us, remember, we all have superpowers and we can change the world.
We're back. You are listening to High Frequency Healing Show. Today, we are talking with Corinne Grillo about angels, a divine spiritual energy. And now we want to know more about your burning bush moment that made your heart desire changing your path in life. And I know you already told us you were a psychotherapist, and you were just being depressed. You get this connection with angels. So what happened after you were a really good student? You went home, you followed the instruction this person gave you about just talk to angels, like if they were right in front of you. And then what happened, Corinne?
Well, within 3 days, I noticed a huge change in my heart, mind, and all the synchronicities that were happening. I just felt like, wow, there's really something going on, because I felt so different in my body and in my life. And I that probably would have been enough. But after 3 days of doing this was back in 2010. After 3 days of doing this, I was driving through one of the barrios in Los Angeles. I'm from Los Angeles, and I was going to a client's house. I used to back then. As a job, I used to help rescue gangbangers and work with families that have at-risk children in their homes. So I was driving through to go to a client's house, and I saw a bird dropped down from the sky. It was about pigeon size, and it landed right in front of my car. So I hit the brakes. And as I start slowly driving around, I see that there's this bird with this broken wing, and with its good wing, it was trying to push itself up and fly away, but it couldn't. And my heart just it essentially exploded, because I had already just been for 3 days working with the angels and asking them to come into my life. And so as I saw this bird, I was like, what the heck, angels? Like, here we are, we've been having a great time for 3 days, and now you're going to throw this like this really sad bird at me. That's weird. And it really did. It felt like it was almost thrown at me. It just dropped from the ground, or dropped from the sky. And so I did what I was doing over the last 3 days. And I think it was really the first time that I had prayed to spirit, prayed to the angels on behalf of something other than myself over those 3 days. So I said, hey, angels, can you please take this bird out of its suffering? And I said a little prayer, which was, new to me at the time. And I drove around the car, and I looked in the rearview mirror, and I saw this bird start kind of shimmying down on the ground. It was bouncing a little bit gently. And as I watched this bird, I saw from the body of the bird a small bird fly up from that bird and jump up and fly away. Then a second bird jump up from the body of that bird and fly away. And then a third bird, which was a little smaller and darker from the other two, a little wobblier too, fly up, jump up and fly away from that bird. And when I looked on the ground, there was nothing left on the ground. So because I had thought, oh my gosh, am I seeing this with my real eyes here? I decided to get out of the car. Obviously, I didn't care that I was in the barrio, it wasn't a safe neighborhood or whatever. I got out, and I was like, what the heck happened? So I looked down on the ground. There was no body there. And I swear, on Maria, my hair started like lifting on its end. It was like the static that was around me, and the presence that was around me was so powerful that at that moment, I knew what I had just witnessed was a miracle.
I got goosebumps listening to you, Corinne, because and we were talking a little bit before our interview that my experience with angels was just also suddenly. They just start just following me, chasing me.
Yes.
And I didn't know what it was until I needed somebody else to tell me they want you in your life. So this is a very deep invitation for you, our listeners, to please open your heart to all of those things that are unknown, but they have a divine energy, and just trust. What else is possible if I just have a very teeny tiny possibility open to let these beings in my life? Just try it. Just let it open.
Exactly, because what that moment did for me is that, and it was broad daylight, and it's in the ghetto. Okay, this is not a sacred temple. We are not on sacred land. And this was happening. And because I saw with my own eyes, hey, okay, I just watched a bird transform. I just watched a bird with a broken wing transform itself into 3 flying birds. Okay, after you see that, then you know that anything else is possible.
Oh, yeah.
Literally, that was just the first miracle. Since that day, I've witnessed many, many miracles. But to be honest, it took me a while to even talk about that miracle, because I'm a psychotherapist. And if I talk about, hey, I saw a bird divide itself into 3, my friends who are also psychotherapists would have me hospitalized or want me on some kind of medication. So I knew not to talk about it. But what was happening inside of my life, and how my life on the inside, my heart, my mind transformed, that eventually I had to start talking about it, especially to my clients. It took me a while, but I started having to include these energy practices and the angels in my clients, because they were there showing up and I couldn't ignore them anymore. And eventually I put my pride aside, and I was like, look, okay, there's angels here and they want to help you. But it was awkward. It was quite an interesting journey to come out of the spiritual closet in that way. But once I did, it was on like Donkey Kong. It's like my life got set aflame in a whole new direction, and I'm so grateful that the angels really kind of it was like a divine intervention. Again, I was in a really rough period in my life, and within a matter of days, I was not drinking as much. My asthma started clearing up. I mean, all of these physical health things started disappearing, but as well as my mental health problems. So I have not suffered with depression really since probably that first month or so. And that was almost 10 years ago now.
Oh my God, Corinne, I honor you for that path, because I know it's not easy. Depression has been in my family for decades, I would say generations. And I have seen my mom, my uncles, my young cousins suffering from depression. So I know that it's there. It's there and it's real, but it's just also an invitation to open up to something bigger and opening up to miracles. So,
yeah. And what I want to say about that is, so much of us that are carrying depression and anxiety, much of it is not even our own depression and anxiety. And this is what I learned through working with angels and learning healing by the angels and through angel work, is that what they really do is they detox us from the burdens that we're carrying from our ancestors, from our communities, from our previous trauma. They can quickly help us detox so that we do feel lighter and brighter. And that's what happened to me in those first 3 days, is that they just helped to open me up and clear me up from the clutter that I was carrying around for decades.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. So, Corinne, what's an angel?
Yeah, I believe it depends on who you ask. So there's different definitions for angels. Some people really mistake angels as being Christian, but they're not Christian. They angels have existed beyond major religions, way before major religions, and I just want to say every culture, every major religion and minor religion, including indigenous religions, talk about benevolent beings that are here to help us and serve us and support us. Even in the Bible says that God put angels here to help us. So I believe they're invisible helpers, that they transcend any one religion. So angels are for everyone. Again, I was not a religious person, and to be frank, I'm still not officially a religious person, but I'm a highly spiritual, mystical person that does believe in a greater power. And the angels were so, I guess, what's the word? So loving and non-judgmental that they came to me, even though I hadn't, it's been decades since I went into church. So that's what tells me they don't care if you're in church or not in church or whatever. They're just here to help. And so angels are benevolent beings here to help us, quite simply.
I love that you are clarifying that and you're saying that, because that was exactly the reason why I wasn't open and I didn't invite him. Not because I didn't want to, but for me, angels had a Catholic connotation. I grew up as a Catholic, and I now in a different path of a spiritual and understanding and being super respectful of any other religion. But my religion is kindness and love. And I don't go to church anymore. If I go because there is a celebration and somebody wants me to be there, and I do it with respect, I honor, but it's not something anymore part of my life. So angels for me were that. part of the Catholic. They were communicators, and that was it.
Yes, I know. Yeah. I spend a lot of time in the communities that I run internationally, really dispelling the myth that you do have to be religious. And a lot of people are shocked that I don't consider myself a religious person. But angels also don't consider themselves, I believe, from any one religion. They again transcend the human need to divide from each other, and they're really here for all of us. So yeah, anyone is worthy of talking to angels. I know for me, I definitely was at a place where I felt like I didn't deserve the support of the divine, because I was, polluting my body, and I was unhappy, and I didn't feel good enough and worthy. And this is really the great blessing that I've found from working with these beautiful beings, is that they are not judging us the way that we learn in some traditional religions.
I love that. And I love what you said, everybody is worthy to work and listen to the angels. And thank you for that, because I know a lot of people who are listening to us may not be in a specific religion, or may be in a religion where angels are not part of that religion. And is there's an invitation to open up and just give the possibility. What if this works for me? What if?
That's
just
it.
What if? That's the only thing they need to start working in your life.
That's exactly it. And I feel like we're at a time in history where humans need all the help we can get. And so don't discount. I don't kick any ally out of bed. If you want to help me, my answer is going to be yes. So
yes.
So yeah.
Corinne, on your website reads, the angel experiment is down to earth, spiritual wisdom from the angels to heal your life. So before we talk about your book, let's talk about how the angels heal your life. And I know you already told us what happened and that you were just following these instructions, but I want to know what else happened, because you went for 3 days, you did that. Then you have the experience of the angel, but I do believe that you really need more than that to be able to overcome depression, stop drinking, and make the work that you're doing now for this planet.
Yeah. Okay. It's been one miracle after another. It's been a really wild ride. But I think that one of the marked differences, and this is what happened to me at the beginning, is that my spiritual gifts became activated. First of all, angels helped me detox from all the burdens that I was carrying. But the most significant change inside of me was that I could begin to hear a different voice inside of me that was guiding me towards things that were beautiful, hopeful. And before, it was only that voice of doubt and tyranny, and that was, essentially trying to tear me down. That's the only voice I could hear for years. All of a sudden, I could hear of another voice, the voice of my own soul, the voice of my intuition, and my internal guidance that was leading me to just a more beautiful life, that was helping me take more positive risks, not negative risks, but positive risks in the right direction. So I believe one of the most significant changes was that I began being led into a life that felt it had purpose, and that I began taking steps to be more of service in different ways to other humans. I was already a psychotherapist, but when these inspirations started dropping down, that I was to eventually move more towards an international platform, and that I wasn't just letting go and having guidance to let go of the simple identity of being a psychotherapist and allow myself to enter into talking about realms of spirituality and angels. All of that was very miraculous, and really was what set my life in a different direction, that was one of service and beauty and hope. And it was like an irrational voice inside of my heart that was telling me and guiding me into doing these things, where before, many of us shut down those irrational voices. We believe the voice that says, no, we can't do that. You're not capable of that. We believe that voice. And for once, I started believing a different voice. And I believe it's because I had so much faith that the angels could do anything. I mean, hello, a bird divided itself into 3. I had so much faith so much faith that at that point anything was possible that I started believing it for my own life too. And as I started walking down these scary territories of putting myself out there, coming out of the spiritual closet, and doing my heart and soul work, stuff that I really believed in, the more that I felt the presence and the power of angels behind me, helping me along. So
I love the irrational voice, and I'm going to steal that from you.
yes.
Because I think that's what really it is. It's just an irrational voice telling you to do things that you would have never thought about it. And that at some point you may think, I'm just going cuckoo. What's going on? So I love that. And it's also an invitation for everybody listening. Just pay attention to that irrational voice. Mine is a cuckoo voice, but it's the cuckoo voice that has provided me so much joy in my life.
Oh, absolutely. Let me tell you, the first time I really started listening to that irrational whisper was, this was after the miracle. I was already actively working with angels, but then I encountered this angel healing workshop all the way in Kona, in Hawaii, which is like really far. And I was right in the middle. Our house was on the verge of going into foreclosure. We were on the verge of divorce. We were massively in debt. And I I listened to that voice and I felt guided to go to this thing. I had no interest in becoming an angel healer at the time. Okay. It was like just my hobby, like, oh my God, angels. And they were helping me so much, but I had no interest. I was already a psychotherapist. There's no reason for me to be an angel healer. And so I had to talk my husband into letting me go. We spent thousands of dollars for no reason. Again, it was just, I finally listened to that irrational whisper, and look where that irrational whisper eventually led me. Mm-hmm. So many years later, you just never know. So I have a quote that I say, and here it is: that the irrational whisper of your heart will lead you to a way more rational life if you just let it.
Oh, I love it. More irrational life.
A way more rational life. Like the life I'm leading is miraculous, but it's so much more rational than that prison that I was living in, that prison mind, prison heart, and just really not enjoying my life. I was not able to enjoy my children. I was not able to enjoy anything. And now it's like this whole different life. And it's because step by step by step, I listened to that voice.
Corinne, I love this topic, and I love the energy, and I love your experience. So now I think it's finally time. Please tell us about your book, The Angel Experiment, that is going to be released soon. Hopefully, when you get this interview aired, it's already been some days, or it's going to be released. So please be very attentive. Tell us about this Angel Experiment.
The Angel Experiment is based on one of the first programs, the first angel experiments that I released internationally. And thousands of people have taken this journey, and it is a step-by-step, a 21-day experiment to open up your life to angels and to invite them in to heal any area of your life, whether it's your emotional self or your mental health or your physical health or your financial health. And so it is designed essentially as an experiment. Put your doubts, it's fine to have discernment and fine to have doubts, but try these steps and see what happens. And the first time that I released this course internationally, people came back with many different kinds of miracles that happen for them. And sometimes the most incredible miracles are the more subtle ones, where all of a sudden they can feel the angels with them, or they're having hope. Now, we have had money miracles happen. We've had health miracles happen. But I'm so excited about this book. The angels really guided me to transform and convert this program into a book form so that it could reach more people with different languages as well.
I can't wait to start those 21 days. I'm going to start tomorrow because it's the beginning of the month. And I love 21 days for everything. Every time I know that I need to go through an inter-transformation, or any personal or in my business or spiritual, whatever it is, for me is 21 days or 42 days, always. So
wonderful. I have to tell you, when I first channeled this program, the way that angels brought it through to me was we have 21 gifts to give humans, and to give humans. So think of it as each day is a gift from the angels. It's a healing attunement, and the book itself will come with a companion audios if people prefer to be guided through the meditations. But yeah, they're actually gifts from spirit.
Corinne, thank you so much for putting this out there, for putting this to a world that sometimes is losing hope, for putting this out to the world, to a world that really needs to start be healed in a different level and at a different frequency. From my heart, from my soul, thank you so much for listening the irrational voice, the irrational whisper, and doing the cuckoo and crazy things you've done. Be able to be here with this book, because this is the kind of gifts that we need. These are the kind of gifts that we are claiming inside us without even knowing. But that's what the inner part in ours, in every single human being, is claiming for light, claiming for hope, claiming for a different life. And these are the kind of things that are guiding us and that are showing us the light to be able to walk the path to joy, to abundance, to health. So
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. And this is one of my favorite questions. So please share with us an experience that people that you have worked with has had of healing through the angels.
Oh gosh, there's a couple that have recently been so amazing. I'll share with you the medical miracle that happened recently. One of my students, I don't know if I mentioned, I teach a 6-month intuitive angel healing academy called the Angel Alchemy Academy. So she's one of my students, and last year she was diagnosed with ovarian cancer, and her doctor told her it was a very aggressive form of cancer and that she needed to have surgery and chemotherapy. And so what do most people do when they hear a doctor saying they need surgery and chemotherapy? The first thing they do is follow the doctor's orders. But because this woman is now a very talented, gifted, intuitive healer, she's also someone who didn't know that she had gifts. Most of us don't know we don't have gifts. That's another thing angels help us with, is they help us activate our spiritual gifts. So now she's doing a lot of healing work. So her intuition, her guidance told her not to do those interventions, not to do surgery, not to do chemotherapy, but that she was going to do energy work and work with her diet in order to clear this. So that's what she did. And just last week, this was about a year ago, she got the final clearance. The doctors called her and said that all of her cancer was gone, and they have no idea what happened. They were baffled, but they wanted to share. They looked everywhere and they couldn't find it. They couldn't find it. So of course she messaged me. I was the first person she let know that, and we were of course praying with her for the whole year and helping her out. But again, since the first miracle that I witnessed, that bird dividing into 3, I have witnessed many miracles, not just in my own life now, but now it's in the communities and the people's lives that I get to serve all around the world. And she's one of them. And I feel so blessed that I still get to hear these stories, and people email me all the time with amazing things.
Yeah.
After they do one of these 21-day practices or during one of the courses that we teach. It's pretty amazing.
Corinne, thank you for sharing that. And as I always said in this high frequency healing show, if you are not yet as a healer, as an energy healer, if you haven't worked with angels yet, if you are now doing this inner work, please keep on working with the doctors. Please follow the treatment you need to follow, because this is not just for you to say, oh, so I'm going to contact Corinne and she's going to save me and she's going to heal me from this. This is not Corinne. Corinne is a channel. This is not Angela. This is not anybody. We are channels. It's you, the one who does the work. It's you, the one who needs to make the decision to listen to the rational voice, yes, to go inside, to work in your stories, your limiting beliefs, your family, your generations back, everything, your inner child, it's you who needs to do the job. If you're not willing to do it, please, please, please keep on going to the doctor. Follow the requirements you need to do, because it's important for you to understand that this is not just a miracle because we just snap our fingers and it's done. It requires a lot of work, a lot of inner work.
And she this particular woman had a lot of work to do. She knew it, and she worked really hard for that. But I just thought, wow, she was so courageous to do that. I don't necessarily recommend stopping all medical treatment, but she was really convinced that that was her guidance. And I think that's important, is to listen to guidance. And so and as a matter of fact, here's an interesting thing. She smokes a lot, cigarettes. And she decided that she didn't want to quit. So she smoked cigarettes the whole time. I was like, what are you doing? To each their own, right? But that's the point, is she stayed wholeheartedly committed to her own unique journey. And nobody can do that for us.
So who is this book for, Corinne?
Oh, this book is for really, I believe, anyone who needs and feels like they need extra support in their life. I think so many of us are walking out there, whether we're millionaires or have no cash at all, we walk around feeling like we have to do it all alone. And I feel that is the one thing that the angels have taught us, or taught me, is that there's nothing that I have to do alone. Even if I feel alone, I'm not alone. And the more that we enlist and open up our hearts, minds, and lives to the reality of benevolent beings that are here to help us, the more our life can skyrocket. Our love quotient can skyrocket, our financial quotient can skyrocket, our health quotient can skyrocket, but we have to invite them in, and there's really specific ways to do that. And there are things that block us from this kind of support. So that's really what my book addresses, is it helps open you up and help detox you from the influences that may be blocking your angel magic.
Corinne, share with us, please, 2 steps or 2 tips for anyone to start the healing process with the angels' support, with the angels' presence and integration and presence in our lives.
Okay, here's 2 things to get you started. One is you talk to the angels as if they're real, and you ask them to show you how real they are. So that's number 1. Number 2 is, remember how I said we all have things that are kind of blocking us from fully experiencing the magic of angels and of life in general. That has to do with our energy body. And so what I always set people to do first is work with Archangel Michael, who helps us detox from dark energy, from fear-based energy, from in general pollutants that are inhabiting our energy field. So every morning I recommend saying hello to your angels and also calling in Archangel Michael to detox you from any pain, from worry, from trauma. And you just sit there and imagine there's this giant angel there that takes this darkness away. Many people can begin feeling and sensing this work right away. So those are great things to get you started with.
Corinne, thank you so much. I just love this topic. I'm passionate about this topic. I love to learn more. I can't wait to finish your book. And please now remind the listeners where they can go to find out more about you, more about your book, more about your courses, more about everything about Corinne Grillo.
Oh, yeah. So they can go to my website, CorinneGrillo.com. There you can find the book. You can purchase the book. You can look at courses that we're teaching. And also you can connect with our online angel communities through my website.
I want you to know that I would love, it would be my first one. It will be my first course with angels, but I would like to take one of those courses with you. So I hope that I can make the time that I need to be one of your students, and I will let you know. Corinne, remember I interview you?
Oh my gosh, you know what I have to tell you? I'm doing an event. It's an intuitive angel healing event up here in California. So you should come to that.
Oh, I would love to. Let me look for the information, because yes, I think that
for sure.
I'm listening to my rational voice right now. So thank you, Corinne, for sharing your healing superpower with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you, all of you, for joining us. I am Angela Maria, Conscious Creation. Change actions, shift energy to live heaven down here on earth. I'll see you next time. Ciao, ciao.
Are you ready to discover your superpowers? Go now to superpowerexperts.com and take the Superpower Quiz today.